Right, so 2 days later, having changed the capacitors, having sent the faulty radio module, blank space, off to Radiocruncher at Cornwall. So that's 270 miles away, and he will no doubt do that. Now Mr. Chippy said he could look at that, but I decided to ask Mr. Radiocruncher to do it because he's done them before. He's got a test jig, and we've never done them before. Basically, you've got 3 or 4 transistors inside, which are germanium, and they grow internal whiskers with age. So a lot of people who are into vintage transistor radios will know this. There are techniques to blow the dust off some of those internal whiskers. You can also swap the transistors for Russian equivalents, which seems to be more reliable, and there are other techniques as well and other transistors to replace them with. So whether or not 1, 4 or all are faulty, this is what is par for the course. Now also you have a tuner head which is there. That could also have faulty transistors in it, but they tend to be more reliable. I did have a discussion via email with the Radiocruncher about that. Meanwhile, I've changed these to audio ICs, which turned up at quite a expense. Vintageparts.co.uk. They come up with trumps for that, but I think it was about 22 quid for the 2 of them. They're a slightly different shape than the ones I took out. The heat sinks are a different arrangement, but it's the same IC. The next thing is the printed circuit board isn't labelled with which is pin 1. So, looking back at the photo, still from my first video, we have one of the devices with a bent heatsink. So, that was, you see, I was expecting something to be the same, and so you just know that the number indicates which way round it goes. So the number is here, says SN76023N, and that is the right hand channel one with the bent heatsink. So we know that that was that way round. Whereas the other one, if I align it so the writing is the same, that isn't the one with the bent heatsink. So we know which way round they came out. So what I'm then looking for is where this is mounted at the factory onto its heatsink. Is there a pin 1 actually shown on the device? And there is. So if I just change the glasses, and we can see a dent in the IC just there, which will be showing pin 1. And likewise we can see a dent in the IC there, again showing pin 1. And lo and behold, we've got the writing on the right, so we're obviously correct. So when I looked at these, there's a dot for pin 1. So we know that they'd come out that way round. So I therefore knew that pin 1 was to the right. Now, had I not been able to do that, I could have looked at the manufacturer's application notes. I could have searched Practical Wireless magazine from 1970 era. I could have looked for manufacturer's data. I found the 8 watt version, but that's a different version. That's the 3.3 suffix. So got those in the right way round. And here's the moment of truth. So coupled up to the 2 loudspeakers as we were before, which are under the bench. I've got a hum. I've got a hum on both channels, which is more than I had before. This is our input. Left hand channel, right hand channel. Left hand channel, right hand channel. We've cracked it. So that's back working. Good. So when the module comes back from Cornwall, and he has already done it, because he's now sent me the video, so this should come back tomorrow or the day after. We'll get back on the video. Right, here we are then, LP1164.
It's got a little bit shorter legs. This is if you can remember the R707, the legs are a bit longer, and they're bent a little bit differently, but it is ultimately exactly the same board. So let's get inside and see what's going on with this. Let's get a screwdriver, just pop this off. It looks like this has been pushed down, so it's probably happened in the post, I expect. It comes off. And what have we got? We've got to desolder the two tags here. Try and do this without lifting them, because they are like butter, these. So Richard has certainly helped me out, and a lot of other people that work on CB radios, so glad to be able to help him out on this. So all I'm going to do with this is just touch this and pull it off, because this is the pad that lifts. There we go. So no pads lifted, and what have we got inside it? Drum roll. Oh, there we go. So we've got if you can see that because of the glare, really. Is it better, worse? Oh, yeah, about there's good. So we've got an AF116, an AF116 and an AF115. I mean, also we've got these 5 caps to do, so that one actually looks quite a bit bigger than normal. Normally it's a 2.5 and 4 10s. I wonder what that one is. Yeah, it's a 2.2, but 63 volter, so it's a bit larger than normal, but that's not a problem. So we'll put some 4 Nichicons back in there. No issues there. So it literally is a case of these transistors being shorted, but we'll connect it up to Frankie and see what it does. Right, well, here's Frankie on the bench. Managed to find him eventually. So this is an R707, but what I've done is I've taken the module out and I've run jumper wires from the original module position, which used to sit up in here, out onto flying leads, so as I can connect up random modules and test them. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to just hook this up and we'll give it a test. Right, we're back, hooked up, modules in, Frankie's powered up, good to go. Let's try him on FM first.
Poor, but he is hanging a huge
recommendations, and you feel the need to nod along and go, sure,
it's working.
At some point.
Towers of wonderful company.
I'm yours, not mine.
Alexander Armstrong, weekday morning.
Occasionally, I've kind of only got the job.
Sounds good, actually.
Johnson, that he was there as a witness.
That's FM. Medium wave. Obviously there's loads of stuff interfering here. Long wave. Let's go with a 1500 about here. Actually, let's pause it a minute. I'll get the external aerial in, and we'll give it more of a chance to work. Okay, so I've got the Sony AN1 active antenna in. That's connected to outside. I've got this ferrite bar coupler, so I'm going to couple this in and see if it's any better. So long wave is there.
At the height of the first lockdown in 2020. He spoke for the first time since details of the event emerged, and he rejected repeated calls for his resignation in the Commons.
Let's go back to medium wave.
With Octopus,
And John Ketley's...
It's working. It's working. So what do? I mean, we've got to refurb it. I mean, end of the day, those AF transistors here, these will have shorts in them for sure. Just pop that off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to whip these three out. I'm going to put some AF 125s back in there, change those 5 capacitors, and then give it another try. Right, well, I've just gone through and just desoldered them with my desoldering tool. So what I want to do now is just take them off. I'll number them, just so as we know where we are, because I'm going to test these. 3, I know exactly where they went. As I say, I've desoldered them. So what I want to do now is take them off and just mark which terminal's which. So let's just pop these out. Make sure we're keeping the right way round. Okay, so that is collector shield, base emitter. So I'm just going to mark that. So collector shield, base emitter. That's that one, number 1. Emitter, right. So I've marked them all on the board now, as you can probably see. So that just makes it easier really for me to connect it back up. Okay, well I managed to delete the audio from this. Well, I didn't delete the audio, I forgot to turn the mic on. So here we go. I'm just getting these. It was 2 AF116s and an AF115. I'm just putting them on the multimeter now, just to see if there's any shorts on them. So I'm going from the can, and I'll just check first of all that the shield wire is connected, which it is, and then I'm just going to go across each terminal and just have a look, see if there's shorts. So there is a short there, about 100 ohms on that one. We've got something in the mega ohms there, so there's a very, very slight short, but nothing major. And that's the last terminal. So yeah, that one's definitely got shorts. Well, not like really bad, but certainly has got some shorts on it. Well, a bit more lost audio, but I've pulled out 3 AF125s here, and you can see that I've bent the legs in a certain way. They are a bit tricky to get in these because the legs do cross over in one place. So you just got to make sure once you put them in that that none of the legs are touching. So fingers crossed that that'll happen. Okay, the moment of truth. I'm hooked back up to Frankie. Let's try it on VHF first. Let's pop the aerial up, turn it on.
Really significant challenges. They've got an amazing.
Oh, it's working. Try it with that AFC on.
Longer with their foster families, and how many go to university?
Yeah, I suppose within Glasgow we have a what we call a supported care service, and that.
That's a weak station anyway, that one. That's hot, I think.
Carabo. Caramo. From Queer Eye, you've never watched it?
I thought I'd finally solved what the Carabo Cup's about.
I saw loads.
Didn't have any bass on it, but... So let's try it on medium wave and long wave again with the external aerial. So let's pop that on. And let's try it on medium wave first, which is that coil. Let's pop that down for us. Oh, actually, that can stay out of order.
The one before that. Reserved for more.
Every journalist who listened to that hearing, we all came out of it with a variation.
I was off. Because they're evergreen.
See, that's exactly what happened. The judge rejected
Working, long wave.
Before they even kind of left the care,
Radio 4.
to give them a taste of university and what they could do and raise those aspirations and make not only the care leavers aware and looked after children, but also the people that work with them, so the foster parents and professionals aware of the financial support. And
there we go. Job done. There you are, Richard.
Well, 2 days later, and we've got a box from, it says Radiocruncher, Torrington, Exeter postcode. So it's been on a 250, 270 mile holiday. I've seen the video. You've now seen the video because I've inserted it from Radiocruncher. He's got some jolly good gaffer tape here. I hope you can hear me over the background music. I don't like to turn it fully down because our doorbell and all kinds of things runs through the tannoy system. I actually put 12 floorboards down yesterday as well in the new building out of 51. They've sent 22. At least we can get on with it. Oh, got a Radiocruncher card. Woo! So we've seen he's changed to 4 electrolytics. Oh, and here's what's come out of it. Oh, there we are. So 3 transistors and 1, 2, and 5 electrolytics he's changed. That's fantastic. Right. Well done, Mr. Cruncher. I wonder if this has had an ingress of moisture, because there's a rust patch there. The corresponding rust patch has been on the bottom of here, which he's cleaned off. So it just makes me wonder whether that didn't help either. But we do know the germanium, I nearly said geranium transistors fail. They get these internal whiskers, as I've said. Let's put the soldering iron on, and hopefully this will go back in. So I'm used to the HMV Stereo Masters, as you know, and that's what I'm trained for. It's what I was a dealer for in the late 70s, and the radios in those, the earliest one again, they do use the germanium transistors and they do fail, but the later radios have the lock fit transistors, which is what's going to be in there, which are much more reliable. So we don't tend to find we have many radio problems with the 2411, 2412 and 2419 HMV Stereo Masters, but we do with the previous ones like the 2328, 22, something like that. Oh, 2028, 2028 and 2031. I've changed 5 transistors in those before now, and that doesn't come cheap. Right, so just make sure the soldering iron's on. just a little blob of solder on there. So you'll see from Radiocruncher's video that these modules are used in a whole plethora of things, and I've seen them in stereo sound radiograms which were made in Batley, a similar small organisation to how Wye were. And they're not, these, don't think for a moment using modules was a load of crap. It did mean that the smaller manufacturers could come up with a radio which was credible performance and repeatable performance by using these modules. And you know, they are high fidelity. I don't know whether I said in the first video, this is a mono radio, there is no stereo decoder. So let's see if it goes back in the holes. Way! It says refurb by Mr. Radiocruncher. That's brilliant. Right, we'll solder that back in. Now, of course, there may be other problems, as I said. There could be transistors out in the tuner head. There's other things that can happen, but we needed to address the module first. So we should get medium and long wave. We are a poor reception area. There's one medium wave station about 105 miles away. There's Radio 4 on long wave. There's FM as close as 35 miles away. But we're right down in a dip. I mean, our 77's UHF ham radio repeater is 6.5 miles from here, and I need 17 watts to get into it, which is ridiculous. We've got people in Sheffield 70 miles away getting in on 2.5 watts. So it just goes to show. So we've done that, we've soldered that in. I will clean these boards up a bit with isopropyl alcohol when we're ready to send this back, or more likely a gentleman come to collect it. And he's about 170 miles away. I don't know if I said in the first video, it turns out he lives at a place called Wye, and he fancied having a Wye Radiogram. So I'm going to widen the shot. Right, so we'll switch this back on, and as before it'll be on the disc setting, so it'll still hum when I waggle the wires, hopefully. So, right, left. I'll just turn the volume down in case, and now we'll switch over to something. Well, we'll switch over to VHF, as it's called, so it's the third switch along. Wow. Well, that's an improvement.
Netty night. You have the most fabulous name.
Well, to be honest, that's better reception we get on the Stereo Masters. These modules must be more sensitive.
The music hall needs you.
So that's working.
Now,
So
when I leave this place at noon,
it's medium wave next. Okay, and long wave is next. So we should be able to find Radio 4. Because this is directional, isn't it, you know. You may have a dirty switch there. Right, I'll look into that switch situation, because normally I can receive Radio 4. So we'll just pause the video. It's receiving something. I've cleaned that with the service hole, and it's just lousy. So medium wave, back to FM. So what we'll do, is we'll put this all back in the cabinet. There's a rider to that. I'm still waiting for this capacitor to arrive. We're out of focus. Why are we out of focus? Thank you. Yes, this capacitor we're still waiting for. If I can dare to waggle that around while it's on. Can we just see the top of that 10,000 microfarad capacitor? That's not difficult to fit. We've only got to take the wires off and take it out of the clip. So we'll do that in situ. So we're going to put it all back in the cabinet and we will take it from there. So that's fantastic. So well done, Graham. Thank you very much. And trouble when you've got no service manual, I'm going to have to remember how all this went back together. Right, see you in a bit. Right, so we'll conclude part 2. Just got that power supply to put back in and the control panel to pop back in. So we're waiting for that capacitor, so we cannot conclude this without that doing. So the next part we'll service that turntable. I'll just turn it around. I've turned it on, it's working on both the speakers, so we'll just see whether the pickup actually works on both channels.
American Dream.
Oh, there's Radio 4 on long wave.
Fascinating is
Medium wave. There's no error whatsoever on that. So let's press disc or whatever it is. Yep, well that seems to be coming through both channels as well. I'll just turn the volume up so we can all hear that. Right hand channel. Left hand channel. So the last thing you want's a situation where it needs a new cartridge for about £40 as well. Right, so that's where we have it.
Okay, next Friday, and you'll be able to hear my review of it live next week.
I'm getting the impression you loved it.
It's a Guillermo del Toro film.
Right, so we'll leave it at that, and we'll see you in part 3. We'll just service that turntable, and hopefully Bob's your uncle and the customer can collect it. So, hope you enjoyed Radiocruncher's bit. And thanks for watching. 1971-1973 Wye Radiogram Part 2.